Hello everyone, I'm Taylor Wiley, and this is a special behind-the-scenes video of how I made the Aperture Gem film trailer. So we start off with this scene where you see space, and this is where the actual text is, but it's not there now obviously because this is inside of the FlipaClip app. This is the program that I used to create the trailer. So this is the opening scene. It just goes through, and you can tap on this music. This is my imported music from Music Maker Jam, and it's titled the Aperture Gem animated film trailer. And it scrolls through, so there you see the first cut of the trailer. So if you scroll back, you can see right here the Earth starts to spin. So with each frame, it moves a little bit. So I start talking here. I'm going to go back, and you can see that right here I've added a recording, my first recording. So this is my voice. Something cool about these voice recording add-ons is that you just see the little plus in the bottom. You can tap that and you can add voices. So you can see that these little things on the ends, you can trim the sound. So if you want it to end sooner, or if there's a word that shouldn't have been there, you can take that out. You just have to scroll this a little bit. Sometimes when I start the voiceovers, I begin a little bit later, like a few seconds after I hit record, so that no words are left out at the beginning. Because if I speak too fast or too soon, when I press the button, it's gonna cut it out. So I have to wait a few seconds, and that's why this tool is very useful. So here we start seeing the Earth's getting bigger, and then it's transitioning. You see it goes from the land to the buildings. And you see here that I have text on the building. So here are all of my tools at the top. You see all of them. So here's the brush. You can change the point size. The type of drawing tool you want to use, you can change the color. Here's background paint. You can choose the gradient you want. And these are all these presets. I really enjoy them because you can put your whole palette in one instead of having to go back and recreate that same color. So it's very consistent, and it's also very practical. It goes from the building, and then here's where it actually animates. So here, I really enjoy this cut right here because it's just from this scene to this one, and it like has this impact on the viewer to where you know something's off, you know something's happening. So it's going from dark, and then here we go to the next scene with the hospital. So you see this? I really enjoy how the blanket off of the mom becomes the background. I thought that was a really clever thing to do. She grows up. You can see this time lapse right here where she's growing up. Time has passed. The background changes as time passes, so you know we're in a new scene. It's like one of those transitions, a fade in, fade out type of thing. But with this, I just use the fade in and fade out as her growing and then the background changing. So here's another really powerful impact on the overall narrative of the trailer. So you can see here that Kurt is explaining to Brinley
without your gem of memory
that she's different. She already knows that she feels differently than everyone else in the world, but she personally hears it from Kurt, which is the other main character. This is like a assisting character. She's the hero character. So they're both featured. And then you see here, you see that background, it's getting darker. I like to include the fades of color when there's a very powerful moment. So she's like realizing what Kurt just told her. So the background is getting darker. So you see how it's this light baby blue color. It's transition. You see it's obviously not the same color. You see that it's getting darker. And it's getting darker and darker and darker. So I go to my color palette. Here's like the starting color. I go down, 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 and this is each scene going down the gradient until it eventually hits near black. I don't want to go all black because it'll blend in with her eyelashes and everything, and then you just won't be able to see that. So here is what I like to call a major scene transition. There are smaller ones, but from here to here, this is a different scene. This is a minor scene transition. I make this scene transition the big one because it's showing that Brinley's obviously changed. She's obviously changed from here to when Kurt told her that she can do something that no one else can. You see these things right here? These are leading lines. I included the leading lines because you see how they're far back and they're getting more into the foreground. So you see them walk up. So that's like where they come from. The leading lines are showing where their paths are going and that Kurt's going to stay over on this side, but Brinley's going to go her other way. It shows them stop. They stop because if you see Brinley, she's clutching her gem. And this is significant as well because she knows she has the ability to change. Just look at Kurt for a minute. Let's just focus on him. And then that's his face as she walks off. He's like worried. Same thing occurs here in this next scene where she's walking, and then she turns her head back there, which is where Kurt in her past is, where her past worries and everything that she ever thought before, that turning point where I told you before, when Kurt told her that she could do something she couldn't, that was her past. And then this is her future, where she can be the change that she needs to be for herself and for everyone else. So you can see this background right here. This is a solid background. You're probably thinking, why would you make that a solid background? Well, you see back here, you see that there's a bunch of craziness going on. So I took this scene and I looked up like a real life city, a futuristic city, and then I took those ideas and I kind of incorporated into them my own, but they're still my own. And then I just added the color scheme. I use the color scheme very often here. So in the scene, it still incorporates that blue. That blue is found throughout. It's like a light sky color. So the reason why it is plain is because you want to be drawn to Brinley. You want to be drawn to her face. You see how she's like, she looks very stern, very prepared. That's why I don't want my viewers to be drawn to the background when they can be drawn to the subject. You remember him? You can tell something's off about this guy. I'm not going to reveal too much. You see how his face is cut off towards the bottom? Right there, the same thing, but he's facing directly at you. You can't see his eyes. You can see like the lower half of his ears. You can see his jaw and his mouth. You know something's off about him already here. So you see him pulling out his folder, and it says confidential on it. I use this text feature to write the word confidential onto the folder. So you can see he's looking down at it. His head moved, and the background's very dark now. You can see red is like fear. It's bad. You're never going to know exactly who he is unless you were to watch the movie or read the book. She's determined. She just has this look like she's ready. She's full of courage. Her hair's blowing in the wind. Positive music starts to set in. So that's from a feminine color. It switches to a more masculine color for the purpose of introducing Kurt again. So you can see again, it transitions to a third character. So you don't know anything about him here. You just know he has to be another supporting character. It transitions again here. You see this light color background. You see all this negative space between them. This is a over the shoulder shot. The reason I did this is because Brinley's talking. She's the subject here. You can still see that they're together. You see the back of his head. You see his shoulder. We weren't supposed to feel restricted. So you see the arm movements. You see it always abiding, waving around there. She looks already very into what she's talking about. She's very determined still, but this body movement adds to that. You want to add some movement, body language in there so you can really get your point across. But if it's done in animation, it just helps it be all the better because you want to draw in the interest of the viewers. You don't want to make them bored. You see another grand gesture here. Waiting. So you see she's like, we're done waiting. She's expressing herself very strongly with her arms. And that's why Kurt isn't here. She's like, it's all focused on her now. She still has that looking space and negative space. She's still looking at Kurt. He's just over here now somewhere. But she's still determined. You see that look in her eyes. You can just tell. So just listen to Kurt real quick.
We both know this is risky.
You can tell his voice sounds different from Brinley's because Brinley is obviously my voice. But I've gotten questions from people that haven't seen the film trailer. Who is the voice actor that plays Kurt? So the person that plays Kurt is me. I do everything for this film trailer. I've composed the music, I've created the characters, already did the storyline in my book I published a few years back on Amazon.com if you want to check that out. And I color everything, I edit it, I promote it, and I made the website for it. So to clear up any confusion, Kurt is me. I used a free voice changer app to lower the pitch and the tone of my voice to make it more masculine. And as soon as he opens his eyes, it switches to a scene. So this scene is a little different because it actually has the sun and then it's going to go down. You see this lake glimmering and you see Brinley happily dipping her hand inside. And then you can see the happiness in their face. And here's the scene with Brinley and her mother. And then here at the very end, this is Brinley. She's thinking. Her eyes get bigger, they're enlarged. And then she has a smile on her face. This is just before this happens. And for this, by the record, I did not use text from this app. I had to use Canva. Canva's been amazing. It's helped so much with this. I chose a background, a free one, and then I put in my own text. These two are the same, but this is a different font. And then I have to do a bunch of different scenes from Canva. I had to take screenshots and then put them all into these frames so the letters go outward. And then it zooms in the same way. And this is also Canva. This is all Canva. But you can just tell Brinley's satisfied here. She's just grown so much in herself. So I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a interpretation of the Aperture film trailer. I hope that this helped you to understand if you did not before. I highly recommend you watch the film trailer before this video. I just wanted to help you understand this better. Thank you so much for watching this video.